Hi, I'm Squeaky Clean Dave and welcome to the channel. If you've been watching me for a while now, you'll know that I always use an oval pole. The reason for this is because I found round poles tend to make my hands ache. I think what it is you grip them tighter, especially when you're using a swivel. You grip them tighter so you put more tension on your hands. You don't need to grip as tight with the oval poles. So imagine how delighted I was to find out that Unger were bringing out an oval pole. So in today's video I'm going to be reviewing the new Unger nLite. So just before I start, I'd just like to say this isn't a sponsored video. This pole has been lent to me. I've got to give it back when I'm finished, and nobody's asked me to say anything about it. This is totally my views and what I think about it. So here we go. This is the carbon composite from Unger. It's not the full carbon fibre. This is the composite one. This pole is 6 meters long, and it weighs without any hose, just with your brush and the pole itself, just under 2 kilograms. So it's quite a hefty pole for the size. Closed length, even with the brush folded right back down, you're looking at 1.8 meters. So reasonable length, not the shortest pole on the market. So you have got that length there. The price of this one is £262.80 from Window Cleaning Warehouse. That's for the pole only, but you do have to buy the brush as well. The brush comes in a 28 centimeter and a 41 centimeter, and the 28 centimeter is £74.78 and the 41 centimeter is £89.88. Now you do have to buy them together because I haven't really worked out how you'd get a different brush to fit it. So the total price of that is £325.68. That's with the composite pole and a 41 centimeter brush, so it's quite pricey. Now the first thing I think we need to address is the shape of it. Unlike its competitor, this is more egg shaped, so it's got quite a wide round side on the bottom and a thinner side on the top, and then the two straight sides. Now I didn't like this, to be honest. I found that narrow side seemed to give me pains across the middle of my hand. I found it really uncomfortable. But what I did find more comfortable was if I turned it round and used it, what Unger would say was upside down. But I did find that really uncomfortable. Now that's not a problem because there is a quick release on the pole, so on the brush head. So you just press the two buttons and you can turn the brush round. So it wasn't any big problem. The only downside about that was it did mean that the clamps opened upwards, and I did find because of gravity that was pulling them down a bit, and they did seem to drag a little bit and close themselves up as you extended because they were the wrong way up to what they were designed. The clamps themselves got quite a nice lever on them, quite nice action, does seem to click into place well, and you can change them round so they're on either side of the pole. On the top you've got your quick release at the gooseneck, which sort of works like any other quick release on a gooseneck, works nice and well to change the angle. As I said, you've got the two buttons there which you press to release the pole. Now unlike a lot of poles that you can just turn this 80 degrees, this has got more of an octagon shape, so you can turn it 45 degrees all the way around and then clamp that back into place. So you've got a lot more options of the positions you can clamp that into. The next thing to look at is the swivel. Now this has got a clever little gadget on it on the swivel, which you pull it back, pull back if I can, and it releases the swivel. So that works quite well. Swivel works nice. I really did like the swivel actually. It seemed to work really well. But then push the collar back forward and it locks it. But it did seem a little bit wobbly, and I'm not sure how well that's going to hold it in place. I wouldn't be surprised. It didn't happen to me, but I wouldn't be surprised if that did go. On the brush itself, this one's set up, you've got the rinse bar across the top and you've got 4 pencil jets on the inside, and it's also got a bumper on each end. The brush itself is I think this is a flock brush, and it has got really nice scrubbing power. It's a dual filament, so you've got the longer brushes, the bristles on the outside, and then you've got the shorter, stiffer ones on the middle. I didn't actually try it with hot water, so I can't say whether it's any good or not with hot water, but yeah, it has got really good scrubbing power. I know a lot of people do really like this brush. I have had people say to me, can I work out how to put it onto other poles, but at the moment, because of the position the hose goes into the middle of it, I couldn't do that. It just doesn't work with other poles. It's been made for this pole, and I think that's what you're going to have to stick with. So how did I get on with it when using it for a couple of weeks? So the very first thing I noticed, as I said, the scrubbing power was really good. It seemed to really grip the dirt on the windows and get it off, and it also seemed to pull off the cobwebs and hold them in the brush. Now this is quite a good thing in some ways, but in other ways it's a bad thing. Because it was holding the cobwebs and everything in the brush, it didn't seem to be self-cleaning it like a lot of brushes do. So you did seem to, I sort of felt that it almost flicking the cobwebs back onto the glass. So the brush was nice, but it wouldn't be my favourite. The next problem I had with it were the bumpers. They came off within seconds. They were rubbish, to be honest. If you're going to have one, super glue these on, put them on somehow, because I just wasn't impressed with the bumpers at all. I took them off, so because I borrowed it, I didn't want to lose them, so I did take those off. Next we have the rinse bar. Now the rinse bar seemed to work really nicely. Because it's just held on with 2 screws, you can loosen those off and slide it up and down so it can come up and away from the bristles more. But it did work really well, and it gave a nice even rinse, but you did need your flow up quite high, and that's something else I found with the pencil jets. I don't know if there's any way of changing the pencil jets. I'm sure there must be, because I can see threads in there, but I found the jets in it, which wasn't a problem because I actually like it, but I had to have my flow up really high to get them to come out at a decent distance from the brush. But because your water is up high, you're cleaning a lot quicker, so that did work in my favour. But I did have to have my flow up to about 75-80, I thought, to make the pencil jets and the rinse bar work really well. So that's the jets. Now what is nice is the hose, as I said, goes down and through the middle of the brush. Now because of this, you haven't got your hoses coming from your different sets of jets and sticking round sort of the end of the brush. So that was really good, because you could get it round door handles really nicely without catching them, breaking them off, pulling them out, whatever. It did work really nicely. So I do like the way that you've got the 2 hoses just with quick release, so you can quickly switch between your rinse bar and your pencil jets. But there is a thing that I didn't like about the rinse bar, and it does seem to stick up with quite a sharp corner at the ends, and it does sound a bit plasticky. I don't know how well it would last, and I did find it caught the frames. I basically didn't really like it that much, although it did give a really good rinse. I took it off because it just wasn't working for me. Like I said, seemed to be scratching the frames, and just didn't like that about it. But apart from that, the brush itself, the cleaning power was really nice. The pole itself, at full extension, well, not even fully extended, I found with the composite it was really bendy. I found that was too bendy, if anything. You could practically waggle it right across in your hand and it was hardly moving on the glass. It was so bendy and heavy. Yeah, I did try one of the 24K ones at the show, which did feel a lot stiffer, but it hadn't got a brush on the end, so I can't really comment on that. But I mean, that seemed like a better brush, better pole, which you can still use the same brushes on. So, but this one itself I found too bendy. It's got a really nice end cap on it, a really good substantial end cap, and the cross section of the inside of the pole is actually quite big, so there's no trouble getting a univalve in there, and it could easily be fitted with a tubeless kit if one came up for it on the market. But yeah, there's no problem getting your univalves in there, and that works well with it. Now, one of the things that I didn't like about it was this gooseneck. Now, this has hardly been used, and you can see it already starts to look like it's wearing a bit. Yeah, it just doesn't look quite right, as if they haven't got the design or the plastic quite right on it. So that does put me off it a little bit. So, would I buy the pole? No. It's the quick answer. I think it's been designed upside down, so the clamps are in the wrong place. I found it really uncomfortable to use it the way it's been designed. It was quite expensive for a composite pole. It's coming out as much as some carbon poles, and it is really, really bendy. I feel like Unger have taken everybody's ideas and tried to put them in one pole and one brush, and as the saying goes, less is more. I think there's just too much here, and I think it's not quite working. As I said, with the gooseneck rubbing, with this a bit wobbly, with the rinse bar a bit plasticky and a bit sharp on the edges, I just don't think it's quite there at the moment. Maybe if Unger come up with a 2.0, it might be better. Maybe with a composite, with the full carbon pole, it might be better. The 24K carbon, it might be better. Or even if they come up with a high mod, it might be better. But for me at the moment, I don't like it. If you fancy getting one, that's up to you, but personally, at the moment, as I said, maybe if they come up with a 2.0, I'd get it, but at the moment, no, it just doesn't feel like it's there. But that's very hard whenever you come up with anything new. Until it's been tested for a while, it's, you know, these things take a lot of development, they take a lot of testing, and it's not always until it's been tested and tried and tried and tried and used by a lot of different people, then they eventually get them right. But at the moment, I don't feel this is quite ready for the market yet. So I hope you found this interesting. If you have, make sure you hit that like button, and I'll check out my playlist for the other poles that I review as well, and see what you think about them. So thanks for watching. Bye for now.